And Susan, we are with Senator David Perdue, Republican from Georgia, appropriately behind the Georgia delegation. Thanks for being with us here on C-SPAN.
Well, it's great to see you again, Steve.
Let's begin with some of the news over the last couple of days, and then I want to talk politics. But the coup in Turkey, you are a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and again, an indication of how uncertain the country and the world is, especially in light of what happened today in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I think it's another manifestation of the lack of leadership globally, and we've got a global security crisis, and this is a manifestation of that. I was just over in Turkey a month or so ago and met with the prior prime minister, and we talked about this and the danger. The Muslim Brotherhood is still very active. This is a very fluid situation. We're watching it closely, but I want to talk about the bigger issue, and the issue that we don't have a plan in Syria, we don't have a plan for ISIS. This is something that we've got to get serious about, and we've confused our allies and we're emboldening our enemies, and right now we've got to fix that.
You and, of course, Donald Trump, very critical of the president and this administration. What should they be doing in foreign policy, especially in light of Turkey and ISIS, that they are not?
Well, we need to pull NATO together, first of all, and make sure we have a united front against Putin and make sure that he gets that. Secondly, we need a plan in Syria. And this is not about U.S. troops on the ground. We need to talk about a Sunni force to actually counter ISIS and to get in and get Bashar al-Assad out of power. Iran has gotten more active here in the last few months, and we've seen that. 4 interdictions of shipments of arms to the Yemen Houthis. And so America needs to lead again and come up with that global policy for ISIS and Syria.
And we should point out, of course, this is all part of the rehearsal for the convention that gets underway tomorrow. One other point about foreign policy. Donald Trump has said it's time to maybe rethink our role in NATO. Should we?
Well, I think there are 2 things he's saying. One is Putin is looking at weakness there, and that's because the United States is not leading. If you talk to people in Europe, and I've met several heads of states as a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, they're asking for U.S. leadership right now. We're asking them to stand up, though, and invest more in the military. They're all spending less than 2% on their military of their GDP, and this is a point in time where we are showing weakness to Putin at a very time when he's being very aggressive, not just in Crimea and Ukraine and Georgia, but even in the Baltic states. Kaliningrad is a military outpost for Putin right now, right there in the Baltic. So I'm very concerned about that, and we need to show leadership and a solid front.
Here inside the queue, you have pretty good real estate for this convention.
Well, I've never been to one of these, but it sure looks good right now. You know, Georgia is the 8th largest state. It's one of 17 states that the Trump campaign has said are going to be very important. And our mission today, and I talked to the Georgia delegation today at lunch, is that we want to take Georgia out of play. We want to win Georgia early. We want to demonstrate that Georgia is not in play, and so we can divert resources to other states that will have closer elections. I think Donald Trump's going to win Georgia very big. Just look at our race just 2 years ago, an outsider, you know, a business guy. I was listening to people back home, and that's what we have in this candidate. So I think he's going to do very well in Georgia.
This is your first convention?
Absolutely.
So everyone says Donald Trump and the Republicans need to have a good 4 days. Define that.
Well, I disagree with that. You know, this is not about the convention. This is bigger than that. This is about the folks back home. They want some changes in Washington. Look, I think what most people are telling us right now is they're more motivated by their frustration with the lack of results in Washington than they are on their own ideology. I mean, this candidate won Michigan and Mississippi the same day. When's that ever happened? So I think what we need to do is come together and unite behind the failures of the Barack Obama administration, the doubling down of his policies that Hillary Clinton promises, and then point out what the Republican Party stands for in terms of setting a new direction for the country.
The selection of Mike Pence, Indiana governor, as his running mate, your reaction?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I've said all along, I love the fact that a governor is going to be involved. Somebody has dealt with legislatures and so forth, and he has Hillary experience. And I think together they make a great team to go point out the failures of the Obama administration, the failures of Hillary Clinton's potential administration, and then to really talk about their vision for the future of America. That's what people back home want to see. I mean, voter turnout in Republican primary this time was up 60%, Stephen. I mean, that's never happened before. And it's because we're bringing in a whole new generation of voters who really want to see change in Washington.
At what point in your campaign 2 years ago did you know that you were going to win the race? And what advice would you give the Trump campaign as they move ahead? And I ask that because poll numbers out today show that Donald Trump is down. The latest in the NBC News Wall Street Journal poll nationally by 4 or 5 percentage points, and in some of the key battleground states, Hillary Clinton right now is ahead.
Well, they've asked us those questions, and we've been talking to them about that. You know, the national polls had me down 4 or 5 points too the week or two before our election, and we won by over 8 points. So there's a lot of error in the polling system right now. But what I've been telling the Trump leadership, Paul Manafort and others, is that stay the course. keep talking about what you're talking about. Lay in the fact that global security, we've got a global security crisis and we've got an economic financial crisis right now, and we need a different direction. We need somebody that's not locked into the power formula in Washington to actually set a new course for us, and that's what I think he has the opportunity to do now.
You are here, but a lot of your colleagues are not. Senator Flake of Arizona, Senator McCain, the governor of Ohio will not set foot inside the queue. Rob Portman is in the area but won't be speaking. So why is that?
Well, he's a different candidate. I mean, I was a different candidate. I wasn't embraced initially by the establishment, but the grassroots part of the Republican Party in Georgia got busy behind my campaign after I became the nominee, and we shut down the Democratic effort. The Democrats thought Georgia was in play in my race, just like right now they think they're going to win this national election. But I'm telling you, right now we've got the high ground. The failures of this administration, the failures of the progressive movement on the working class and the working middle class and the working poor is profound. And if we educate people about that, this election won't even be close. So I'm not concerned about early polls. And by the way, there are so many new voters right now not being included in these early polls. They don't mean a lot yet. My encouragement right now is that he's brought a whole new group of people into the political arena to vote, maybe some of them for the first time.
But a lot of Republicans, Senator, still have not embraced Donald Trump. They still don't know if he's a conservative. They don't know if they can trust him on a lot of issues. So what would you tell those wavering Republicans?
Get over it. I mean, give me a choice. I mean, you got a clear choice between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I mean, we know she's talking about tax increase, more regulation, weaker foreign policy. These are all things that Obama has done over the last 8 years. On the other hand, Donald Trump is an outsider business guy. He's listening to people, and he's talking about a fair deal with trade. He's talking about a stronger foreign policy. He's talking about recapping our military. These are things that I hear back home that people are really concerned about, security and economic viability.
So you're here along with your wife. So give us a personal sense of what this is like for you and what your schedule is like. You met with the Georgia delegation today?
I did. I'm humbled, honestly, having never done this before, meeting with the Georgia delegation. Some of these people have been very active in the party for over decades. And so I'm humbled, but it's also encouraging to see we've got two 18-year-olds, one delegate and one alternate, that are delegates here, 18 years old from Georgia. So I'm encouraged that our delegation from Georgia is united. We're going to go to work, and we're going to make sure that we close it out for Donald Trump in Georgia.
Will it be fun? Will it be uncertain? Will it be chaotic? What do you think this is going to be like over the next couple of days?
Listen, I'm encouraged for one thing. We've got an opportunity in this candidate to actually change the direction of the country, for real. This is not about stump speeches. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than Donald Trump. This is a movement. People in America are giving a message to Washington. Democracy is working, and this is so encouraging to me. So the next 4 days will be, enlightening, encouraging. There'll probably be some disagreements, but there's going to be unity when we come out of here this week. I fully expect that. Elected officials, grassroots people, party delegates, all of us, because we know now's the time to change the direction of the country.
Senator David Perdue, in the Georgia delegation, Republican, freshman senator here at his first convention. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Look forward to seeing you guys this week. Thanks.